and today I'm playing a game called The Bottom of the Well. It is an Alice in Wonderland game, and that's pretty much all I know about it. So, start it. Maybe. If it decides to respond. There we go. Okay. There are two additional layers of interaction. Okay. Let's play. Welcome to The Bottom of the Well. This game is a visual novel, meaning it is a mainly text-based piece of interactive fiction, a book where you get to decide what happens next. Most of the gameplay consists of picking your choice from a selection of options which will further the story. Bottom of the Well does have some gameplay aside from multiple choice though, most important of which is the kind of Alice, our protagonist, you are going to play. For your first playthrough, we recommend you use default Alice, but the customization is there to be used. Even if you complete the game, a different Alice might have a very different experience. If nothing else, you might just find a new way to die. Thank you for playing our game, Red Nail Studio. Let's go with this one. Dream Diary, September 13th, 2015. Today I had the weirdest dream in my life. Hey, I was reading that. Morning, A. Morning. Did you catch the anniversary reading last night? No. Well, I tried, but I fell asleep. Listen, about that. You fell asleep? Oh, come on, Alice in Wonderland is like our favorite. Let me finish. Something happened. I was tuning in on my radio. You're such a Luddite. Amazing I can even catch you online. Shut up, I'm not a Luddite. I just like analog things. Anyway, I was tuning into the broadcast, and I must have hit the AM switch or something, because suddenly the channel changed to something else. What? Aliens? Oh, government-run number stations? No, it was this weird, white noise at first. It's hard to explain why I was so drawn to it. I could hear snippets of some melody, maybe lyrics, but the signal was weak. So you turned it off, continued looking for the Alice broadcast. So I went out on my balcony and turned the antenna around until the signal came through clear. It now sounded more like music with the odd signal in the background. When logic and proportion have fallen sloppy dead, and the white knight is talking backwards, and the red queen's off with her head. So somebody's pirate radio broadcast of golden oldies? Felt like there was something else there, some message that the music was hiding. I know it sounds weird, and then I fell asleep. What a story. No, hear me out. I dreamed, and I didn't know I was dreaming. Do you understand? It was entirely lucid, but like waking up in another world, except I didn't think of it as another world. Ugh, does this make any sense? You had a super lifelike dream where you didn't know you were dreaming, but you were still lucidly in control. Sounds pretty rad to me. Sure it would have been, except for the whole end of the world apocalypse bit in the dream. Okay, now you've got my attention. Alice C. So, like I said, it was the end of the world. Everything I did that day felt like the real thing. Every smell, every sound, every color, every touch. It's important you know that I wasn't acting like I would in a dream. I didn't know it was a dream. Heavy. There was no warning, no build-up, nothing. Just between one moment and the next, the TV had turned to the emergency alert system, and this voice that sounded like it had been recorded in the 60s told us we were under attack. Were you alone? Yeah, I had a really long day at the office, so I had sworn off all social contact for the evening. I had the TV on in the background just as noise. Wait, what? The office? You mean you got some kind of real adult person job in the dream of yours? Yeah, actually, at the college. Student admissions office. Hey, don't sound so surprised. I am going to graduate in just a few months, you know. Uh-huh. With a BA in English Lit. Shut up. Such skill with words. Anyway, what happened next? Like I said, the TV suddenly turned to the emergency alert system, jacked the volume all the way up to it. I didn't even know what they could do that. The broadcast told us we were under attack right now and that we needed to get to shelter. That we had less than 30 minutes before the bombs hit. Jesus, sounds scary. At first I didn't want to believe it. I switched the channel, but they were all the same. And then the sirens started. Tornado sirens, flood sirens, I don't know. And then I knew things were serious. So what'd you do? See, I can go online to find out what's going on. I immediately tried to call Chess and needed to think about my options. Let's go with online. Didn't you try calling someone? Like your parents? Of course I tried, but it was futile. The phone network was completely overworked, but the net still worked fine. So what'd you find? The net was still working, but the bandwidth was severely lacking. The major news networks were either down or overloaded. But all the big search engines defaulted to some kind of government site in super simple HTML. That kind of confirmed it really was the real deal. Isn't the net supposed to be some kind of DARPA invention anyway? Wouldn't it be surprised if they had some kind of system in place to take it over if need be? Well, they hadn't taken it over. You could still go wherever you wanted. Facebook still worked. Apocalypse-proof servers? Nice. It was insane. I tried to get in touch with my brother. He's the only one who's even gotten an account, but there was no reply. I spammed my aunts and sent an email to my mother, but I don't know. It felt like I needed to find someone right then and there. And? A group chat. It was spreading through our social networks like wildfire. Someone had found the closest old Fallout shelter that was actually still operable down on 3rd. People were going there, just grabbing all they could and running before the bombs fall. So what happened next? You know, I did find you online. That must have been useless. I'm all the way over in Old Blighty. Unless things were different in your dream? No, you're still in the UK. The bombs had already started falling there. You disappeared. There was nothing more to do. It was only a dream, Al. Sure. So then what? The old Fallout shelter was down on 3rd. It wasn't far, close enough to walk anyway. Anything to bring anything? Oh, right, yeah. I grabbed the biggest bag I had. A backpack. People always called it magic. You fit so much into it. Bigger on the inside and all that. Take food. Take the radio. Take a map. Take a flashlight. Take spare clothes. Take sleeping bag and take more food. Well, go on. What was it like? Did you run into trouble? You could say that. God, that shelter. So, I headed towards the shelter from my apartment. I'll admit I was still kind of hoping it was all some kind of big false alarm, and by tomorrow everything would be back to normal. Like an extreme version of Orson Welles' War of the Worlds broadcast. Actually, the panic that radio show caused was greatly exaggerated. Probably by Welles himself. And it worked. We still remember it today. Great ad campaign. Guess that English Lit degree is coming to some use at least? Yeah, well, it didn't really feel like it. I remember trying to think of words to describe the way the streets felt, the way the city sounded, turmoil, chaos, anarchy, tumult, pandemonium. The capital of hell. None of us got a degree in Lit. Stop stalling. Yeah, it's just so fucking damn. Like I said, everything felt so real. The panic in the streets, the accidents everywhere with no emergency responder showing up, the ever-present siren. It was like everyone walked with their eyes to the sky just expecting to see a flash. Did you make it to the shelter okay? The shelter was actually in the basement of a bar. They used it as storage, which was handy since there was a door towards the street, but there were no signs or anything like that anymore. I just knew about it from the Facebook conversation. Okay, wait, isn't that the bar you always go to? The Rad Bar? Yeah. Go on, Alice. Did you get in? I went to what I thought was a side door. It wasn't the kind of alleyway I'd usually hang out in. I just imagined junkies and hobos sleeping among those trash bags. Anyway, the suspense is killing me. So I knocked on the door and then immediately tried the handle. It was locked. Nothing happened for a while. Then the door opened, just a bit, and she stuck her head out. She? The bitch queen. She was this redhead chick who had taken charge of everything in there. She was the one who originally posted about the place, so I guess she felt she owned it somehow. She stood there in the doorway looking me over and then basically said, "We're full." Like it was an exclusive club. I can't believe they just keep you out for no good reason. Was it actually full? Not a chance. There was a sign on the door that said capacity 100. There was no way there was 100 people in there already. I said as much. She didn't reply. I guess you didn't just let it be at that. I tried to push the door open. I wasn't having any of this shit. The door clearly said capacity 100 people. There was no way there were 100 people in there. So what did you do? I tried pushing, but I was way too slow and weak. She kicked my foot out and slammed the door, leaving me standing in front of it. Oops. Yeah, I tried banging, but, well, there was nothing else to do but give up. I stepped back from the door, the sound of it slamming shut still echoing in my ears. It was the sound of desperation. I knew there'd be no more opening it. I had to think of something else. So you're right back where you started. Kind of. So realistically, what were your options? I'll go back to my apartment. I hurried home from the shelter. It wasn't far, and rushed up the stairs back to my apartment. Put the TV on and immediately validated my decision. It told everyone to stay inside, at home, and to avoid panicking. Is this the part where you start putting aluminum foil over the windows and prepare your bathtub for extended living? As if I even had the presence of mind to do that. I just listened to the man on the TV. He said, move you and your family to the centermost room in your house. Preferably one without windows. Preferably underground. Didn't your building have some kind of shelter? At least on the side of the pond, it feels like you can't walk a block without stumbling on half a dozen bomb shelters. Sadly, no. We just got into the habit of getting bombed during our wars. We're the ones usually doing on the bombing. Anyway, bathroom it was then. Did you think to bring anything? Oh, right, yeah. I grabbed the biggest bag I had. A backpack. People always called it magic. What? We already read all this. Yeah, I'll take everything, 'cause why not? Serious question. Why didn't you just bring your entire apartment with you into the bathroom? I mean, like bed, every scrap of food, etc. First of all, I was kind of afraid the building would, collapse. I wanted to be ready to run, so I packed my bags in advance. Secondly, the truth was I just didn't come to think of it. I'm sure I had tons of other useful things lying around that I just didn't think to bring. Alright, so what happened? The end of the world? Come on, let's hear it. It took a lot longer for the bombs to become falling than they said. I stayed online for as long as I could with my laptop in the bathroom. Doors closed. Everything edible stuck around me. The news suggested that the U.S. missile defense was working and that it would be shutting down the Russian missiles before they could land. But I guess sooner or later our luck ran out. Go on. Well, first the electricity went. I remember being lit up by just my laptop screen. Before I had time to panic, there was this rumble, and then plaster started raining down from the ceiling, and the toilet seat underneath me kind of started feeling oily. I don't know, like I was in danger of sliding off of it. Jesus. I was completely terrified. There was nothing really that can prepare you for it, and that was just the first one. How many did they send your way? How should I know? After that first hit, the internet was down. The lights didn't come back on. But then a few moments later, there was another one. You know how you kind of count seconds between seeing the flash and hearing the thunder when there's lightning? Yeah. This felt like that. Shock after shock, and then counting little white flakes dropping down from the ceiling, hoping and praying, spelled praying wrong. The next one wouldn't just obliterate you. Did it go on for long? I don't think so. After the third one, my laptop and phone both stopped working suddenly. EMP? EMP? What's that? Electromagnetic pulse. It's this, secondary effect of a nuclear blast that knocks out electronics. Wait, how could you not know what that is? It's your dream, after all. That is kind of weird. Dream me definitely knows more things than real me does, or did. How long did you stay in there? Well, the man on TV said to monitor broadcast until an all clear was given, or at least 24 hours. I brought my portable radio with me. The net went down, but the radio waves remained, at least for a while. Analog for the win. The broadcast stopped after a while, but not before reporting on wind patterns. There's going to be a lot of fallout raining down right outside my window around the 24-hour mark. Ooh, so not the best option? Well, I was pretty sure it'd get inside whether I wanted it to or not. The question was whether it was worth waiting for a little longer. Did you have enough food? I didn't, but I wasn't really thinking about food. It was the apocalypse. I can handle a growling stomach. So what was your decision? I'm gonna stay for 24 hours. Well, not quite 24 hours, away the whole night, most of the morning, I think, but it got increasingly hard to figure out how much time had passed. I hope you brought some candles and a book. I brought my laptop, but yeah, that didn't work out. But I did have a copy of Gulliver's Travels in there. Ooh, and Alice in Wonderland, of course. Didn't own any candles, some English student I turned out to be. How archaic, Bactriani paper, tisk tisk. Haha, anyway, I sat on the toilet and read using the flashlight. It really did wonders to keep me distracted, and I have plenty of batteries. Wait, I have to ask, are you telling me you sat through the night in real time? Told you, I had no idea I was dreaming. It was real. I'm awake, and I know it was a dream, but it's like I really experienced it. I get panicked just thinking about it. And I always thought lucid dreaming would be fun. Maybe if you had power. I have none. Did you get peckish? Yeah, but I was so high on adrenaline I didn't really notice it. I had filled the tub with water, although I tried to drink from the pipes as often as I could. The water stopped pretty soon after the first few hits. He must have been hungry, though, when he left. I was starving. I wasn't used to practically fasting for 24 hours. Luckily, I had plenty of water at least, but I was pretty sure whatever food I'd find next I'd just eat on the spot. So, after you left the bathroom, what did you see? You know, it actually took me a while to wrap my head around that it was still my apartment. You see, all the windows had shattered, so everything was covered in shards. There were books and papers all over, blown around by the wind, I guess, and ash. Ash? Yes, I was in shock, like stepping into another world. I walked across this debris, glass crunching under my feet, to the window. Everything was gray. But I could see the morning sun through the clouds. It was snowing ash. That can't be good. Did the city stand? I think the city was making most of the ash. I could see smoke rising from a little horizon I had visible from my apartment, and it smelled of burnt and smoke outside. But it was also eerily quiet. What'd you do? I coughed up my living room? Seriously, though. See if anybody else did that. I went out into the corridor and called. No one answered. I knocked on the neighbor's door, but there was no answer from there either. But then I thought I heard them leave the day before. Do you know anyone in the building? No, not really, but I still tried knocking on everybody's door. I mean, I know I wasn't the only one who stayed inside. Did you find anyone? Let me finish. See, the thing I realized was that I'd just gotten lucky. I found an open door halfway down the hallway, facing west. All my windows faced east. It wasn't just open, it was blown open. Oh shit. I peeked in, calling out a hello, and found myself looking at nothing. You know, no walls, no floor, barely any roof left. No windows, no people, kitchen cabinets hanging loose above the abyss, that kind of thing. And beyond, nothing, just ruins and fire. The whole downtown area, gone. There was thick, ashy snow falling everywhere, a lot of it drifting inside. A sudden gust suddenly blew a faceful of it at me, and then I gasped. That doesn't sound too good. My stupid self was standing there, mouth agape, staring. So of course I got a lungful of it. Damn idiot me. Can't really do the sight justice though, and I don't blame Dream You for staring. Dream You isn't you? She is, and she isn't. It's hard to explain. Anyway. Did you find any other survivors? I did, after a while. I actually bumped into one other person who was doing the same thing I was. His name was Ross, although I think he was Italian. Anyway, I was just so damn happy to find I wasn't the only one alive. We hugged, and he just exhumed this cloud of dust. I started coughing and explained he had gone into some destroyed rooms to look for survivors, but more than half the building at least was pretty much destroyed. Oh geez, but there were more than just two of you? Yes, we gathered at the bottom floor, a little group of us. Ross, me, an old lady from the ground floor, family with 2 kids. The night janitor had hidden in a broom closet when the bombs hit. No one was badly hurt, but we were all coughing from the ash. Weren't you worried? I mean, about radiation? I didn't really have time to be worried about radiation. We were more worried that the building would collapse on us. I mean, half of it was already gone. Okay, so what did you do with your little group? Well, first we all sat down and exchanged stories of our survival, speculations on the causes of the attack, all that. It's the most natural thing in the world. Well, first we all sat down and... Wait. But soon enough we needed to make a decision. Ross said I was the last person he found alive in our building. Trying to go to the fallout shelter. When I realized I knew about a fallout shelter within walking distance, the argument just kind of seemed to stop. They were magical words, fallout shelter. With radioactive ash raining down from above, I'd imagine so. So we quickly gathered our things and headed down towards 3rd. I honestly hadn't considered what things would look like down on the street, though. I mean, not really. What did it look like? The streets? Awful. Ruined buildings everywhere, charred by fire, most of them. We had to pick our way between cars and debris and bodies. There were so many bodies. Makes me sick just to think about it. It's been pretty difficult to travel. Yes, although it was oddly inconsistent. I think my building was the last one directly affected by the blast. About a block in the opposite direction there were mainly intact buildings, as much as you could call them intact, I guess. Still standing. What about others? Were there any survivors on the street? Yeah, there were others. A lot of them were a lot worse off than me. Some were blind, others were burned, broken, or in shock. There just wasn't anything I can do. Where was the government? I don't know. No one knew. I hadn't seen a single ambulance siren since the event. For all we knew, there was nothing left. Was the shelter still there? Well, the building it had been in wasn't. I mean, it had collapsed. It was just a pile of rubble and rebar and a charred mess of house. What? And the shelter? Near the shelter used to be underneath the red bar on the first floor. Got as close as I could, because the entrance was definitely blocked.
Needed help.
Holy shit. But there were probably people down there too, weren't there? Yeah, and some of them were my friends. That is, if anyone survived. What did you do? Did the fallout continue to fall? Oh yes. So there was a question of time. Either we gave up and went back to the apartment, or then we tried to leave town. Hey, what about the people potentially trapped on the ground? Or then we tried to dig our way down to them? Take time, but maybe it'd be worth it. What did you do? The family with the kids, the old lady immediately said no. They weren't going to start digging around there for something that they weren't even sure was there. How nice. What about the others? Ross and the janitor guy. They wanted to help, but they weren't really sure it'd be worth it. What'd you say? I told them we didn't have nearly enough uncontaminated food to survive at the apartment, that this was our best shot. The others left, and we got down to business. It was dusty, hard work, but at least I wasn't alone. Could you have done it yourself? Probably not. We found the hatch, marked fallout shelter, and everything underneath the car that had either been thrown through the wall or purposely crashed through it. Luckily, the tires were still functional, so we could just roll it off. Holy crap. Okay, so what did you find underneath? Well, at one point, of course, the people below had noticed that someone was working above them. There wasn't a lot they could do from below, of course, but the moment the hatch was free and I banged on it, someone opened. They must have been grateful. Oh yes, being trapped underground is never a very welcome concept, although in this case the cellar contained a few hundred gallons of booze and beer, so some of them were in quite festive mood. So what did you do? Well, the bitch queen was front and center again, but this time it wasn't just her, she had a friend along, this big burly biker dude. I actually knew him vaguely. His name was Ray. He didn't actually live that far from me. What the hell, didn't a whole bunch of people just climb out of there? But not all of them were very keen on going back in. Yeah, I don't really know what she was thinking, but her problem was clearly with me. There can only be one queen bitch, or something like that. While she was arguing with me, the others had the opportunity to slip into the crowd. All that work, and now this. What did you do? Leave town. So how many of you left? We were all alone when we left the apartment building. What did it look like? The streets? Whoa, we already read that. Started coming across survivors, people like us, some with backpacks, some were just closing the backs. That'd be really wretched to see them. Some were staying put, but most were moving. Rumor had it there's an evacuation center set up at the college. What, like your college? Yeah, talk about going back to where he started. Go on, how'd it go? It was pretty slow going, and even though we tried to keep out of the black rain, there wasn't all that much we could do. But at least we had a goal, and others to help us get there. So, it was real, the evacuation center? Not so fast. There's a slight obstacle still on the way. Oh, what's that? The river. There's a river? Not something I thought about either. I didn't live anywhere near it, so whenever I crossed it, I just drove over it. But there it was. Geographical reality. So, I mean, the bridges were surely still there. True, but when we approached them, we realized they were occupied. Uh-oh, by whom? I'm not sure. I saw them from afar and kind of ducked into cover. I saw immediately they weren't good news. They had guns and were harassing the other people who had come to the bridge. I think they were mugging them. Did they let anyone pass? Yes, some, but I didn't know what the price was, or if they had some other criteria for letting people through. So what did you do? What's to say the other bridges didn't have similar setups? Seems like a lucky thing to do. I was willing to take the chance. I wasn't going to tangle with a group of armed men, even if I lost sometime. How much time did you lose? There's actually not much else to say. Huh? Well, I'd been feeling it for a long time already, but by then it just came to an end. I couldn't move anymore. I was too weak. I had to rest, but I couldn't even keep food down. In the end, I couldn't even stay conscious or talk. Radiation poisoning? Yeah, the acute bad kind. I suppose it's lucky I can't really say much more of my last time on Earth. I was too delirious, too out of it, too really nervous to realize anything anymore. I came in and out of it, but mostly I remember incredible pain whenever I was conscious. And thus concluded my dream. Well, that was interesting. What do you think? I think it felt incomplete, that there was something missing. It wasn't the way it was supposed to end, you know? Dreams are supposed to end in certain ways. This one was, I think. It felt like it was trying to tell me something, but I wasn't listening closely enough. Maybe you can try again next night. See if you had the same recording. Speaking of which, what frequency was this on? That's the weird part. When I tried to see, I realized I'd hit the right channel, and that I was in fact reading Alice in Wonderland. And this isn't exactly some obscure number, station, frequency on the AM bands. Oh, maybe you'll dream it next night again anyway. That's the good thing with dreams. You can always dream them again. Maybe do something different the next time around. Okay, that's the end of that playthrough. If you guys would like to see me do a different one with some different choices, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what you would do, and what choices you'd like to see me make in the next one. And if you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and this is Rose signing off. I'll see you on the next one.